Hello traders, this is a DAX recap video for Monday, November the 30th, and per some requests I'm recording a public video again. So this was the weekly blog with the Just DAX this time, published on Sunday, and in this blog we got the large time frame charts of futures and on cash index, and also here a list of supports and resistances. So support 12,240, lower end of a new range, which formed today low of the day. Then highs of the last 3 trading days that were the first obstacle to move above, and then comes the resistance area 450 to 500, more precise on the zones chart, and that zone marked the high of the day. Now cash index is looking like this, a daily candle which with a big rejection tail above the current this smaller range. This is the DAX futures daily chart, and on this chart in the lower left part here, when I move the mouse, you can see now that the daily ATR is 242 points. Just remember that is going to be important also. And I already gave this chart on Twitter. This is futures chart. This is 8 hour. This is 4 hour. In both of these charts, we could vividly see here bearish divergence both on MACD and on RSI. Let's go on the CFD zones chart. So this is the zones chart that my subscribers get. And in the morning notes, in the first info part, I said that future session started right at resistance on DAX and led the price to the lower end of the new range. So if you are from Australia or some other countries in Asian time zone and you can trade at 1 to 3 p.m. times, 1 to 3 a.m. Central European times, that was a fantastic opportunity to go short. Why? Because this was the beginning of the futures session and the futures opened right at resistance. So right at the better resistance zone. Nothing to think there except to hit it with a hammer and place your stop behind the invalidation point. In this case, that means at least 15 to 20 points above the upper part of a zone, if not more. Stronger markets would use this situation as the buy the dip opportunity. Which situation? The situation that everything was red. US futures around 8 was red. Asia Pacific market was red. DAX was in the pre-market session here at the lower edge of a range. So stronger markets would obviously use that as a buy the dip opportunity, and they did. So previous cash close at 336 also. So with that in mind, when you observe the price here more than 100 points away from the previous cash close, you need to think also about the inventory concept, and that up move should be first, and then we're going to see what is going to be next. Also that first we got the weak bounce there from the support zone, and they tested this support zone for almost 2 hours, but at the end we got a strong up move from it, and the real targets would be the gap fill and the upper edge of the range. And then we shall see if there is going to be enough of a strength. It could go obviously higher. Now on this chart, this was the timing 7:25 with the email update number 1. This was the 11 with the email update number 2, and this represents this line 3:30 Central European time, so 3:30 p.m. Central European time, opening of the US markets, and US markets start to go down. And on every of them, this, which would be the first pullback in the US RTH open, after the US RTH open, got sold. It got sold on S&P, Nasdaq, Russell, and also it should be, with that in mind, sold on DAX as well, and it did. So this was the before chart, made at 8:09. The early version was made before. This is it. Look how this is looking now, 7/18. This is a scary looking candle. You could think, wow, they're going under. But actually, you need to be engaged here. You need to be engaged here on a long attempt with your stop behind the invalidation point to take that risk. If you got a stopper, well, guess what? That's -1 hour. So it's nothing to be afraid of is just minus 1 hour, and today we got more opportunities than the entire previous week combined. So first opportunity, as we said before, was this, to sell the DAX right at the futures open. None of the traders in Europe obviously would take that, but from other countries that was a very good short. Along the way you could find alternative ways also to sell it up to the lower edge and then to switch to longs. This was first the weak bounce, then they made a spring just a few points below the zone, and at the end went higher. All of this here was lasted around an hour and 45 minutes. So this would be the long here. I showed you that trade on Twitter. Additional long opportunity would be after this, which was a shake, a nasty shake on the open. It was a shake of a 50-point magnitude designed to stop scalpers and traders with the smaller stops. That shake went directly to the next resistance zone. These three zones here that are only 10 point wide were adjusted for today around 7 a.m. and was sent with the email update number 1 at 7:25. But these two ones with thick lines, only label was changed. Those are predefined zones from the previous week, and this was the email update number 1 with the price below the previous cash close and with the idea of possible targets of 100% range expansion would be the R1 and R2 zone. Next update was this, and it was at 11 with the idea that stronger markets should use this pullback toward the gap fill and toward this support zone. So these with the triangles are the ones that got adjusted for today as a launching point for longs first, and that we could get two-sided activity today. And the question is, there is enough strength to go much higher toward the R1 or R2 zones, and those are the locations to fade. And so this would be the long opportunities. Here would be the short opportunity that really didn't work as a gap fill trade. This here situation lasted for 25 minutes, so more than enough of a time to cut that trade on break even or to scratch it for a few points. Because if market is going to react on a gap fill, it should really react much faster. And I already showed you a example of that from US markets. You can find that on my Twitter feed today. This would be the next fade. So now we got that kind of stronger momentum higher, and if you want to fade that at the back end of the zone. Get that location as good as you can. And also we had that red upsloping trend line, so alternatively, aggressively, this is the point. This is not zone based. This is the point to fade it on the line itself, and also this line was good for placing stop. In this case, stop should go above this, and also to mark that in this period of time this was the high of the day, which was not at the zone like this spike was at the zone, for example. Then this was the first test on the zone, price moved higher, made a higher high. So to mark that, it was very usable later to observe these additional entry points for shorts. Again, on the line itself, going below current high of the day, going inside the zone, bang your short. But again, with calculated target and with calculated risk, because we could expect buyers here. Why? Because this was the resistance zone, it got broken, now tested for the first time, again that word first time, as support, and 38.2 Fib retrace of the RTH move. That's good enough. After this kind of strong move, buyers are going to react on the first better pullback. And that was the final long for today, because market later hit the main resistance and made from here to here 225 points, 225 points. That's full daily 8-year exhaustion move. After that, you really need to see a very strong market for that market to go higher. And here we got the open of the US markets, and US markets went lower from the open. So with all of that in mind, you're not going to go long here. Sure, this was a reaction from the same zone, and we got a tradable reaction, but here you need to be more concentrated on shorts than on longs. So this was a short, additional entry point. If you had the limit order in the middle of the zone, obviously you wouldn't get a fill. On the top, on the bottom edge of the zone, you would get a fill, and then to go here in on the short side if you missed all of that, because market was here dancing around the main resistance number 1 for 20 minutes. So more than enough time to go short here, or after US Open to go short here. Short on this zone, stop close goes above the zone. Then first pullback to sell, as said before, first pullback on US markets got sold. This is the same first pullback now from the US Open on DAX that also should be sold, targeting lower zones. And with that, our opportunities for DAX ended. So this was for today. As said before, plenty of opportunities, more opportunities today than entire previous week, more moves. I hope you traded well, and as always, I wish you a pleasant evening and good trading.